Yeah, so that was pretty much the flavor of that deployment. We had a couple IEDs that deployment. The next IED we hit was actually hit my vehicle direct. And the last thing I remember is like looking down at the map and just blackness. The vehicle's still rolling. I could feel us rolling. And I just remember screaming, drive, drive, drive. We came out of the smoke. I saw the hood was gone. We pull Majeski out of the turret and we pull him down. Blood is just running down his face. So I get up with the gun turret and take over the gun. And I see, the locals in the area starting to scatter. And I'm like, just, ants at this point, like just waiting for it to happen.
Welcome to Combat Story. I'm AJ Fugit, a retired Marine, Force Recon, Scout Sniper, and Marine Gunner with 21 years of service, multiple combat tours, and a lifetime of lessons learned in the arena itself. On this show, I sit down with warriors from every front line to uncover what combat truly feels like and how it shapes the way we see life, each other, and ourselves. This is Combat Story. Today, I'm joined by retired Marine First Sergeant Randall Parks, a parachute rigger in Recon, founding member of MARSOC, drill instructor extraordinaire, and now a leader in both real estate and defense tech. Plus, we're joined by everyone's favorite podcaster, the man who started it all, Ryan Fugit. Randall's career spans from enlisting in July of 2001 to a remarkable 20 years of service that took him to Iraq, Afghanistan, and Africa on 4 combat deployments. As a founding member of 1st Marine Raider Battalion, he helped shape the early years of Marine Special Operations and was named MARSOC Support Marine of the Year in 2011. He later became a Parris Island Drill Instructor, shaping the next generation of Marines, and commanded 97 Marines and sailors during a CENTCOM deployment in 2017. In his final active duty role, Randall returned to Marine Corps Recruit Depot San Diego, capping his service before retiring on September 30th, 2021. Since then, he's launched the Parks Realty Group with his wife Heather, selling over $40 million in residential real estate, and now serves as Mission Operations Deployment Lead at Anduril Industries, helping drive innovation in modern defense technology. His academic credentials include a Bachelor in Business Management, magna cum laude, and a Master of Business for Veterans, an innovative and one-of-its-kind program from the University of Southern California. Randall's combat stories are intense, unfiltered, and at times deeply personal, so much so that this is only part 1 of his combat story. We'll be sitting down with him again in the future to share his incredible role in saving lives during the chaotic fall of Kabul, a moment that speaks volumes about his leadership, grit, and unwavering commitment to others. Let's dive in. Here's part 1 of our conversation with Randall Parks.
I'm super excited today to interview a good friend of mine, Randall Parks, retired First Sergeant Randall Parks. If you could you go ahead and introduce yourself, your titles, and what you retired as?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Randall Parks. I grew up in pretty much all over SoCal. I did a short stint when I lived in Texas for a little while as a kid. I did 20 years in the Marine Corps. I joined right after high school in July of 2001, and then subsequently retired in October of 2021. I retired as a first sergeant. My last duty station was at the recruit training depot in San Diego.
Oh, that's fantastic. I can't wait to dig into some of your stories. I know that you have some really, really, really fun combat stories. I'm also salivating at some of the boot camp stories because I went to boot camp one time in my career, and that was when I was running through at 17 years old, and I can't wait to hear what it's like from the other side of some of those stories. So I'd love to be able to find out a little bit where you're from. You said so kind of all over California is what you mentioned. Where would you initially call what we call home?
Yeah, so I mean, I think I've said this before, but I had your standard enlisted person's upbringing, right? Mom and dad got divorced real young. Really just kind of bounced around with my dad until about 7th grade. And then in 7th grade, I ended up moving in with my mom. She kind of bounced around from like boyfriend to boyfriend type thing. And eventually I'd gotten tired of it. I was tired of I don't think I went to the same school more than 2 years in a row until my sophomore year.
Okay. That's tough.
So so I guess maybe that's why the military life was
this is normal.
But yeah, I think it was at the end of my freshman year. my mom and her boyfriend were breaking up. And I went to go, spend a day or two with my grandparents who lived in Nuevo, which is a really small town outside of Parris, California. And I just kind of broke down and just told them, like, I'm just tired of like moving all over the place. I just want some friends. Like, so they allowed me to stay there. So from sophomore to senior year, I went to Parris High School.
Okay. And that's Paris, California, right?
Yeah, not Paris, France. Paris, California. Paris with an E.
Yeah.
I didn't think anything of it at the time, but now, like when I go back there or anytime it was ghetto. It was a ghetto place.
Yeah, but you don't know at that age.
Right.
So,
That's what normal is. Yeah.
I think kind of what saved me, at least in high school, was that like my grandparents were super Christian people. So there was like a standard, right? Like there was a standard of conduct that you had to adhere to, and standard in like grades and like, and then, I also played sports. I was a swimmer and water polo player. I started swimming and water polo at my sophomore year. Yeah. Never having done that before. I grew kind of a natural at swimming, I guess. And then I graduated in 2001 and then joined the Marine Corps pretty much like a month later.
Did you have any military influence? Was grandparents? Was dad?
Yeah, so pretty much my whole aunts, uncles, dad were all Navy. And I distinctly remember the first time that I thought about the Marine Corps. I was like 5 or 6, and we went out to Arizona because my great grandmother had passed away. And at the funeral was one of my like distant uncles, and he was a sergeant, and he showed up in his blues.
Really?
And I was like, I just remember being like, damn, like look at that guy.
Yeah. Yep.
And I remember asking my dad, I was like, Dad, like, what's that guy? Like, what is, and he's like, oh, he's a Marine. I was like, man, that looks awesome. And, the blues,
They get everybody.
And I was like, yeah, I think that's what I want to do. And my dad, having been in the Navy, I think he'd spent a little bit of time on an amphib. So he was like, no
way.
Absolutely not. He will never join them. They don't do anything. They just eat, sleep and work out all day. I'm like, that sounds pretty good.
You're not making this a bad case, right? Yeah.
So I think that had like an impact on me. Obviously, I still remember it. But you guys grew up same time frame I did. Like, movies of action and adventure. Like, that's what I wanted to do. Yeah. I grew up with freaking, Point Break, Predator.
Yeah.
Fucking, all the great movies that our current generation just totally misses out.
I really feel like they should do some homework to be able to figure out Americana, like what it looked like at the time, where we were at, because I don't know that they make movies like that anymore, where sometimes the point is just to watch the action and not follow the plot line. Like it's just an enjoyable sequence to be able to carry a machine gun from scene to scene and make things blow up along the way.
Yeah.
Was there a book or a movie for you that was like, hey?
Well, I think for everybody in the mid 80s, right? When Top Gun came out, everybody wanted to be a naval aviator.
100%. Exactly. We were naval aviators. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that one scene when she was like, what's your name? He's like, Maverick. Does your parents not like you?
And now if we saw, like, if somebody ever introduced themselves to me with their call sign, I would just roll my eyes, right? At that space, I'd be like, hi, I'm AJ, right? Kind of thing. Like, I'm, whatever I'm Maverick. You're like, neat.
But dude, in the 80s, if you were a naval aviator, like, of course, I wanted to be a naval aviator. I think everybody did.
Yeah.
Turns out I wasn't really good at math, so flying planes probably wasn't.
I really don't think.
How'd they let you in?
I really don't think math is in this equation. Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
So I think that's why I joined the military. At least as an 18-year-old kid, that through my lens, like that's why I was joining. I wanted to serve my country, of course, be a man of action, adventure, deploy, go see the world.
Right.
Because I hadn't seen anything. Like I think I'd been on a plane like one time before I joined the military.
One question I've been asking folks recently is when you joined, so without hindsight's benefit, and we'll get to that later, but 18-year-old Randall, what did you think you were going to get out of the military?
Obviously, I think I had an idea of the benefits. Obviously, I didn't know what like the VA home loan was, or I didn't know any of that. I knew, college, so you can get your college paid for. Because I did so terrible my freshman year, and then my sophomore year I started turning it around. My end GPA in high school was like 2.3, right? So you're not getting it anywhere. Even though I did really well my junior and senior year, but it was because I never had any stability. But yeah, I don't think that was something. In fact, I tried to pit the recruiters against each other in a failed attempt to like get more out of it, right? Like, so like my grandfather was like, hey, look, I know you're leaning towards the Marine Corps, but maybe you should like go talk to the other recruiters just to see. I went to the Air Force office. They weren't even there.
I hear that actually a lot, as a matter of fact.
I went to the Navy office and they were like all overweight. This is not impressive. I was like, no, like I'm not interested. And then I went to the Army recruiter who was actually pretty scored away. He's like 82nd Airborne guy. And he was like, look, man, like, an Army, we can give you your choice of first duty station, your actual MOS, like give you your no shit MOS, and we'll give you a $15,000 signing bonus. And I was like,
That's a lot of
kid.
Yeah.
2001,
Yeah.
$15,000.
It's a lot of coin.
Of course, I also didn't realize that was before tax. So I went back to the Marine Corps recruiter with that as like, oh, I'm leverage. This stuff.
I like how you're already dealing.
Trying to deal. And, this is 2001, pre 9/11. Like, they didn't need people. It wasn't like they weren't like surging or anything with people. So he slides his like white cover across and he like points to the eagle of an anchor. He's like, look, man, this is all I can fucking give. If you don't want it, if you don't want this, then get the fuck out of here. I was like, where do I say?
100%. Good. Hook, line, and sinker. That would have totally gotten you the same exact thing.
Yeah.
That's funny. I love how the Marines at that time frame, and I think they still maintain that, is just like, you join us, right? Like, we will plant the flag and you come to us. Right? I think there's something about that. And then especially when they doubled, like when you're trying to wheel and deal, you have a much better offer from the Army, and they're just like, hey, homie, you came to my door, and you're like, absolutely. And we just fall hook, line, and sinker every time. I didn't say.
And they were all squared away, man. Like all the recruiters were super squared away. They were all in shape. They were professional, just the way they walked. So like knowing the background of like the cinema influence of the 80s, and did you see like, oh, this is a real guy. Yeah. He does exist. Yeah. You want to do that. Yeah.
So when did you go to boot camp? Because you said you graduated and a month later you were in boot camp. And so this is July of...
Yeah, end of July. Went down to recruit training in San Diego.
So were you in boot camp during 9/11?
Yeah.
I got to hear about that. I got to hear about that.
Yeah, so we were about halfway through recruit training at that time. We were out at the shooting circles up at Edson Ranch.
Okay.
And I saw my drill instructor. He like dropped us off with the PMI. This guy, retired Master Sergeant Sandoval, great dude. Obviously he was that great. Who remembers their PMI?
Correct.
I'm impressed to remember this.
Do you remember his first name by chance?
No.
If it's Guillermo, was Memo? I don't know what you was.
Yeah.
Super easy going. I'll show you a picture.
Yeah, super easy going, dude.
Might have been
the same guy.
I served with that. I think I might have served with him. Yeah.
So he was totally cool. He was a single sergeant at the time, and he would always talk about like stories of him going out in town and hooking up with all these chicks. Anyways.
Maybe it's a different Sandoval audience.
So the drill instructor comes walking up, and he was like the kill hat, right? Like the guy that just destroys you all the time.
Do you guys have that term?
Well, it's certainly not in aviation, right? So I'm not sure what the infantry side.
So can you describe what the billets are? Because we are going to come back to this, but like, what is a kill hat?
Yeah. So within, recruit training platoon, you normally have 3 or 4 drill instructors. You have the senior drill instructor who's like the dad of the platoon. He's nice to a point. Like he actually cares about your well-being, and he wants you to graduate. He's there for motivation and everybody loves the senior drill sergeant.
Right.
Yeah. And then there's like depending on what coast you're on, like on the West Coast, there's the J or the junior drill instructor. And he like teaches drill. He's like the platoon sergeant.
Okay.
Like he's nicer, but you don't cross him.
Okay. He can turn it on real quick.
But yeah, he's like the experienced green belt drill instructor. And then there's like the 3rd and 4th hat, which are just drill instructors.
And newer as drill instructors, right?
Yeah, mostly newer. Your 3rd hat is probably like, maybe on the 2nd or 3rd cycle, has some experience. But they're the ones that just destroy you from the moment you wake up until the time you go.
And they're called kill hats.
Yeah, the kill hat.
That is their job.
And recruits know them as that, or that's once you're in the cadre, you know that?
And I don't know. I think every coast is different the way they refer to them, but I'd say by and large, everyone refers to them as the kill hat.
The kill hat.
They just like,
That I remember being like just woken up by that person just wandering through the squad by screaming at the top of his lungs. And that was like, I'm getting up. And he was like, that's all he would do. And like, dude, and we would snap out of bed. I remember.
And so the kill hat comes up and I see him talking to Sandoval and I could see like their facial expressions, like they had some kind of look of concern. And, so I'm like eyeballing him while I'm trying to learn how to do marksmanship. And the kill hat, they have us all, put our weapons down, bring it in. Which for a drill instructor to say that, every Marine knows this, for a drill kill hat to say, hey, bring it in. Like we're like, oh, there's
like everything's super disciplined and organized movements. They will bring you to attention and move you in that specific formation. So that was super abnormal.
Yeah. And I don't know if everyone else in the platoon had that same inclination, but I knew there was something different going on. So, he pulls his campaign cover off and he starts talking to us in his regular voice. And I'm like, we're about to either get just destroyed right now or something really bad happened. And he was like, look, the United States is under attack. I don't know a whole lot, but I know that we are under attack. So you might want to pay attention to the things you're learning out here today because you're probably going to use it.
Holy moly.
And he puts his campaign cover back on and walks off. And we're like,
and he just leaves you with that.
Just leaves us with that.
What does that mean?
So you're in recruit training. You have no inclination.
You are isolated.
Is this like, did Maine just get hit with a nuclear weapon?
Yeah.
So we were thinking everything from Pearl Harbor type event.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us were really thinking terrorist attack.
Red Dawn?
Red Dawn.
Yeah, some Red Dawn shit.
Speaking of 80s movies, right?
Yeah. Which is great, by the way. Patrick Swayze in that one as well.
Yeah.
So as the day kind of progressed, the company commander brought all of us in and platoon by platoon, we filtered into this classroom, and his wife had been recording the news on VHS tapes.
Oh, wow.
And brought those in and played that for us. So in the evening of the 11th is when we fully realized the extent of what was going on. So then the next morning we go to chow, 5:30 or whatever. And on top of the chow hall are groups of sandbags, a Marine on top with an M60.
What? An M60?
And I'm like,
where'd they pull that one from?
we go on some hikes, on Saturday following is when you do all the hikes up on the hills up there in Camp Pendleton. And as the fog is burning off, you look out into the water and there's just a whole sea of ships.
Really?
So I don't know if it was the Mew, or what, but there was just tons of like 15, 20 ships.
Really?
And helicopters day and night, just moving.
I wonder-
46s and 53s.
I wonder if they like exited pulled everyone out of, San Diego to get them out into the open ocean.
Maybe.
Wow. Okay.
But LCACs, hovercraft are going back and forth. And you can tell like they're loading those ships, right? And then like the next Saturday we go out there. And this went on for a week or two. And then one day we were hiking and they were all gone. And we were like,
Go.
Just a quick word from our sponsor, Veterans Help Group, and we'll get right back to this episode. Some of you may be struggling with things today that weren't there before you deployed. Or maybe you're noticing this in a loved one, a spouse, a son, a daughter who went downrange and came back a little different, trouble sleeping, dealing with pain, stress, mental health issues, and maybe a whole lot more. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Let me tell you, you signed that contract, you served your country, you earned your benefits, and that's why I want you to do yourself a favor and call my friends at the Veterans Help Group today. They're here to help you get your benefits. I've navigated the VA system to get my own benefits, and it can be hard at times, and the Veterans Help Group makes it that much easier. The Veterans Help Group knows the VA because VA disability is all they do. Whether you've been denied or appealing or filing for the first time, it doesn't matter. These guys know how to get you approved for 100% of the benefits you deserve. They've done it for thousands of vets just like you and your loved ones who served. Go to veteranshelpgroup.com or call Veterans Help Group at 855-231-6144 and tell them your buddies Ryan and AJ from Combat Story sent you. That's veteranshelpgroup.com. Veterans Help Group does not guarantee outcomes, and past performance does not guarantee future results. The company is neither a law firm nor affiliated with any part of the U.S. government, including the VA. And now, back to this episode.
so like our only information that we were able to get was from the drill instructors. Back during that time on Sundays, you were permitted to go get a newspaper. You get a newspaper.
For any of the younger than millennials listening at home, those are papers that we used to have that would print out what we had on phones nowadays.
Yeah. So yeah, dude, like that was our 9/11 experience. I don't think I really fully grasped everything until I graduated in October.
So then you could download later on, like you could literally sit and peel all the information back. I'm sure like Visitors Thursday, like with the family, that
No one was allowed to park on base. They had to park off base and get bussed in.
interesting.
Yeah, dude, it was wild, man. It was a wild time. Now thinking back to it.
So how did that change your mindset? Because when you were looking to join, you'd mentioned, benefits in college and then all of a sudden now you're seeing this thing, you're like, yeah, obviously serving my country, but you're like, oh, okay, now this is like really real.
It's just 2 months in.
Yeah.
2 months.
Yeah. I think anybody that joins not just the Marine Corps, but any military, like, at some point, the eventuality could be you're going to go to combat. I think it is something that you're naive to think that that's not good. But, my motivations for coming in was to, go see the world.
Yeah.
Like the nicer parts of the world.
I mean, you kind of got to, yeah.
Like
Delivered on that.
yeah, get some live out ports.
Yeah.
Maybe I heard, of course, like every Marine does, I heard all the stories about going to Australia.
Yeah.
Wanted to go there for sure.
They used to throw the stories were that as the Navy ships pulled into port, that Australian women would write their phone numbers or their room numbers on tennis balls and throw them onto the ship as Marines and sailors pulled into port. Am I correct in that?
That wasn't my experience.
Oh, no.
I think after 9/11, that may have changed some things.
Wow.
But yeah, I think it definitely changed my mindset. I certainly heeded the drill instructor's advice and paid attention to what I learned on the rifle range, and I did use it again in the future.
Yeah.
Regardless of what Daryl says. And we can talk about that a little bit, but yes. So unfortunately for me, I got duped kind of by my recruiter, and I was an 0351 anti-tank assaultman, but I ended up in security forces. He had convinced me that it was like this fucking super high speed.
You could guard the president.
SEAL Team 6, fucking,
100%.
type deal. You're gonna do fast roping. That was super bad. So I did that, but because I was like a good kid, or at least I didn't get caught as a kid, I was like primed for like a security clearance. So I got a security clearance.
Also tall, square jaw, right? You know, like fits the bit. My frumpy ass ain't making the security forces.
So I ended up in Bangor, Washington, as on the guard force for the sub base up, the nuclear sub base up there. So that's why I watched the invasion on CNN. You know, and I remember all of us just feeling like, man, we just missed it. Like, not realizing for the next 20 years.
We were gonna have some patience.
Yeah.
That's so okay. So yeah, sitting there in Bangor, Washington, watching the invasion. You know, you mentioned, you know, missing it. What was the conversations that you guys had? Was there like frustration? Was there discipline issues? Was there just this, you know, deflated balloon kind of, you know, feel?
I don't think so. I think there was definitely, you know, guys were anxious to get to the fleet. And then obviously we knew guys that had gone to the fleet and kind of were reporting back, like, this was my experience and whatnot. And so we kind of had an idea of what we were going to encounter, you know, going down there. I was in the recapture tactics team platoon. So like we got to go to like CQB school. I got to do assault breacher. I went to McQuiss. So like I had like some, you know, war fighting, more advanced war fighting.
Yeah, you were schooled out. I mean, especially at that time frame.
Yeah. So, I ended up lap moving shortly after that duty station to be a parachute rigger.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know. I just thought it was gonna be fucking cool.
Yeah.
What is
Jump
that
out
a
of
normal
planes.
move? Yeah. Why do that?
You know, I don't know. I think I was kind of enamored with like jump out of planes and seemed cool. And I actually had some influence. This guy, you probably have met him once or twice, a guy named Jason Swore. He was a parachute rigger and he kind of convinced me that like it would be a cool MLS. So like, I think I'd like to say this now because it kind of ties into the rest of like my story is I've always just kind of like tried to take advantage of opportunities, you know, like, you know, I was kind of hearing from the guys in the fleet that like it sucked. Like going on deployment was cool, but being like barracks life as a crewman was terrible. Yeah. So I ended up lap moving over to parachute rigger. Ended up at 1st Recon Battalion.
Where was the school for parachute riggers?
Fort Lee, Virginia.
Okay.
And then jump school before that. I know a lot of people think jump school is fucking cool. It sucks.
Who thinks it's cool? Nobody thinks it's cool.
And especially as a Marine in jump school, it is tough. It is tough. You were the one person who does not look like the others.
Yeah.
Running around jump school.
Well, especially at the time, I was still wearing. I was still wearing tricolors.
Oh, okay.
Did jump school, went to rigger school, ended up at 1st Recon.
Sorry, is that normal to go straight to a recon unit? I feel like that's a pretty big deal. No, I mean,
I think it's kind of like needs of the needs of the Marine Corps. So I ended up there. The battalion at the time was deployed, so I kind of fell in on like this RBE type.
What's RBE?
Remain behind element.
Okay, gotcha.
So like, you know, we were, you know, supporting some jump ops here and there. I was like a corporal.
So this is 04?
Okay. Yeah, it's 04. You know, we're supporting like jump ops and doing the thing, and we're not really doing a whole lot though. Like like our Paraloft was down at Del Mar, and we're like playing spades.
Yeah. Del Mar.
We're drinking by noon.
Yeah.
Because like the rule was like, for obvious reasons, once you start drinking, like there's no more packing of parachutes.
Yes.
So of course we would start drinking like at noon.
Sorry, Gunny, can't. I had a beer.
We PT our asses off. Like it was a good time. So battalion comes back. They're obviously slated for another deployment. I got asked if I would be the platoon sergeant for the PSD. the personal security detachment for like the battalion commander.
Right. Being a grunt probably before health, also security forces.
So I had that
ringer for that.
background. Didn't really know what I was getting into. I don't think the battalion really knew how to employ the PSD other than just carting around CO and Sergeant Major.
But we were operating in a new space where the Marine Corps started to own battle space at that time frame. And so the PSD, the battalion commander, from my experience, would have to do a ton of battlefield, tours, if you will.
Circulation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we do that workup and deployment workup. I actually got saddled up with a platoon commander who was a staff sergeant, a guy named Roger Turner, who we dubbed Tough Nuts Turner.
Dude, he's like the salty.
That's good.
He's like the grizzled, salty old Marine. That is like, he has always been that way. And I'll let you.
Even as a staff sergeant, he was that way.
He looked just weathered. Like, how did you know? I met him later on. Yeah.
As a gunner.
As a gunner. Yeah.
And he was probably the same.
100%.
Great dude, salt of the earth. But him and I, we got along pretty well in the beginning. He taught me a lot of things that I think that carried on throughout my career in like leadership. I had, for whatever reason, as like a sergeant, I had this entitlement complex from my time in security forces. Like for instance, like we routed 29 Palms in those Quonset huts, and for whatever reason, S4 or whatever didn't give us enough cots. There was no more cots, and all of us had cots except for like a PFC. He didn't have a cot, but I had a cot. And he came in and he was like looking around. This is Turner.
Yeah.
Tough nuts.
Tough nuts.
And he's like, hey, Big Sarge. Good day. Went up to you. I'm like, what's going on, Staff Sergeant? He's like, why does, PFC so-and-so not have a cot? I'm like, well, all the rest of the guys have cots. He's like, yeah, but where's his? And I'm like, I don't, there's no more left. And he's like, well, why is he sleeping in the fucking dirt? And you have a cot. And I'm like, so I gave him a cot.
Absolutely. And that,
dude, I learned so much from that.
mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that he did that.
Yep.
Because I think I was, I might have been a fucking prick for not taking care of my like junior dude.
And it sounds like he didn't ream you in public either. It was like off on the side.
I mean, they knew something was up.
All of a sudden you had to drag taking your stuff. I actually think that is perfect. I don't fault you at all for doing that, because that's the way that the infantry security forces was. Rank had its privileges.
Yes.
And when you went over to Recon, that is counterculture. It is the lowest guy gets taken care of as an equal, right? Co-equals in, working for a specific goal.
You're saying because it was a Recon community, that was okay. But in the infantry, that guy would have slept on the ground still?
100%.
Yeah.
What?
100%.
No.
Yeah, I wrote a book on it, remember?
No, I thought of all the services, the Marines would be the last in the infantry to let a PFC sleep on the ground.
I'm not trying to give a blanket statement.
And this may have been a generational thing, our experience.
Yeah. No, I get it.
But man, I am so grateful for old TNT for giving me that
That's cool.
experience. So yeah, we do the workup. We deploy to Iraq.
Real quick, Randall, before we'd never interviewed a rigger on this.
Yeah.
You said you go to Fort Lee. I assume are you getting trained with Army riggers?
Yeah.
Across the mill. How often are you jumping? How many times you pack and shoots? What is the responsibility like packing the chute for someone else who, if you get this wrong, I assume they die?
Yeah.
Like what? Any of that? Just
So like the rigger motto is to be sure always. Even though I painted the picture that we were playing spades and drinking a lot.
I'd like to walk that back real quick.
Walk that back a little bit. I had some great dudes there. Sergeant Ortega, Sergeant Castro at the time. They spent their whole career as riggers, and they really taught me a lot about, not just about where we can skate and scam, but also how to be proficient in packing. And so basically, the process of packing a parachute, you pack it to a certain point, and then someone comes over and checks it. If it's not good, then you redo back to that step or all the way back to the beginning. And then eventually, once you build proficiency, then they build speed. So like packing it to speed. We did a couple like, high altitude jump packages, double bag static line packages, where, I got proficient enough to where I became an inspector, and the recondos, like for the double bag packages, would pack their own rigs. So we were doing some of that. I think by the time I went on deployment, I had my gold wings already.
Can you explain
What
the
is
difference?
that?
Yeah.
How many
So the
pieces?
Army has only silver wings,
Yep.
or they're free fall wings. Can you explain the why?
Yeah, so like the gold jump wings, you have to have 5 specific jumps beyond jump school. So like I can't remember at the time, but
It was like
at least from what I remember, 2 combat equipment jumps
night,
daytime,
Yeah.
2 night combat equipment, and then 1 jump from a different platform.
Yep.
And that could be different depending on when you served.
Yep.
Like I think in the 90s, early 2000s, like a water jump was one of the
Oh wow.
qualifications.
So guys would be riding silver wings forever.
Yeah.
Waiting because water jumps are super
So
rare.
hard to get.
They're just labor intensive and they're risk intensive, and it's
sure.
not something we always do. So like they just don't happen that often. So
Yeah.
guys be riding silver wings for a long time when water jumps were like a requirement for that.
Yeah, so funny story. I was waiting for like 35 jumps to get my gold wings. And I got it actually during the double bag jump package where I was actually a jumper. So this package. And it was like, I'd been waiting forever to get this night combat equipment jump. And we're doing double bag static line. And back then we were jumping the MC5s. So they had these like, they didn't have like the pillows. They had these rip cords.
Yep.
And so I'm like getting rigged up, stand up. I put my combat equipment on, and it didn't happen all the time, but I hooked my combat equipment onto my reserve. Oh no, ripcord.
Oh no.
And when I stood up,
Oh no.
my reserve fucking shot out the back. And dude, I've been waiting for like forever to get my gold wings, and it goes in the back.
Is this in the aircraft?
In the
Like,
aircraft.
Oh,
the
no.
jump
Yeah.
as
Oh,
you
no.
stand up to get ready to go.
Yeah,
Do you remember what platform it was? Was it like
it was a C-130.
Oh, did they have the ramp closed or
The
still?
ramp was closed,
Okay,
so there was
great.
no chance of it sneaking out. But I was just like,
Talk about-
yeah,
Is that you're not jumping.
yeah.
You're done.
You know, he's like,
So our jump master, a guy by the name of Master Sergeant Smallenberg,
Yep.
sees what happened. He was a free fall jump school instructor, super savvy, super illegal, but he takes his rig off, gives it to me.
Really?
So like a true like point break moment,
Yeah.
right?
So you're not in
Jump
free
this
fall.
rig.
Yeah.
Yeah, except if I wasn't free falling. But so yeah, I rig it up, jump out, and I end up getting my gold wings or whatever. And then by the time I get back to the Paraloft here in Pendleton, this guy Lenny Castro, Sergeant Castro at the time, he was really good artist. Like he could draw these caricatures.
Oh no.
And on the whiteboard, he draws me in this caricature, and like of like my ripcord falling and my pilot parachute fucking shooting the back, and then tears coming down my face, and like holding some gold wings.
wait, what did you say to that jump master that gave you the shoot? Like next time you saw us, was there anything said? Like
I think I have reminded him about that a couple times throughout the years.
Yeah.
just like
So I run into him now. Yeah. Great dude.
So you owe your gold wings
That
to
is
Master
very
Sergeant
cool.
Smallenberg, right?
That's
So I owe my gold wings to Smallenberg, and then we got back. The guy that gave me my gold wings swore, which was the guy that kind of talked me into going parachute rigger in the first
That's
place.
fantastic.
So that was kind of
that's cool.
Kind of full circle.
Yeah, so he pounded those things into my chest.
Yeah, we don't do that much
No.
anymore. That is a tradition that has fallen away from the spotlight.
Yeah.
You still do it though, I would guess, just outside of the.
I can neither
ground.
confirm nor deny.
Just assume the prone happens.
Just a quick word from myself before we dive back into this combat story. Many of you know our previous interviews with AJ Pasciuti, Marine sniper, recon operator, and the man who tracked, hunted, and ultimately eliminated Iraq's deadliest sniper, Juba. This was an enemy responsible for deaths of over 100 Americans, some say up to 140, many of which were filmed and posted online. AJ, who was just a very humble, very young Marine at the time, took that fateful shot, putting an end to so much pain for so many families. He never took credit for it, and over the years that story's changed and been retold countless times. I'm incredibly proud to let you know that you can get your hands on AJ's new book, Dark Horse, Harnessing Hidden Potential in War and Life, a book I asked him to write after I interviewed him, immediately after I interviewed him. It's part memoir, part roadmap, a look at the lessons AJ learned through combat and throughout his career, and how they can help all of us find strength and purpose. If you enjoy Combat Story, you're going to love this book. To get a copy, head to combatstory.com/darkhorse. That's combatstory.com/darkhorse. It's packed with details and insights that we never got to cover in our interviews, and I know you're going to love it. Now, back to this combat story.
Yeah. So yeah, that was kind of my rigor experience at First Recon, and then it quickly shifted to work up and then deployment.
It also, what is it like being a rigger coming into a recon unit? How are you treated? You just guys?
Yeah. You know, like I don't think I've ever felt like Recondos ever treated me any different. You know, especially like once we get out on the jump package, you know, like I think that like that mantra of like every Marine is a rifleman type thing. Mm-hmm. And back then, like, you know, I was not doing any parachute rigger stuff on deployment. I was going out, convoying all over the place.
That's what AJ was telling me yesterday. I was like, I was very surprised to hear this. Isn't it very cool?
Because you have an idea, but you think a parachute rigger is like, okay, cool, near a paraloft, jumping out of things, whatever that may be. You're like, no, absolutely not. Recon units are relatively small. And so everybody does every job. Like the cross-functional, you know, like, you know, resume bullet, right? You know, cross-functional teams, that is recon battalions because there's just so few guns that everyone's got to, you know, have, you know, ancillary jobs as well.
Well, and like for like the PSD, instead of pulling a bunch of recon dudes to do the PSD, they just plucked guys out of the S shops and put them in there. So like in my platoon, we had a couple like O3s, like tough nuts. But we had dudes that were MMO clerks, maintenance management clerks. The driver for the CO was an admin clerk. We have some comm guys, which actually ended up being very beneficial, having those dudes.
Yeah.
We had, like a whole, you know, supply guys.
So when do you deploy in 04?
We deployed in 05.
05.
So September of 05.
And where do you guys go specifically?
Camp Fallujah.
Yeah.
Direct Camp Fallujah. So we land Kuwait to Al-Qaeda. Convoy picks the whole battalion up at like 3 a.m. And we're convoying through Fallujah.
Mm-hmm.
September of 05.
Fallujah 2's happened the year before, right? Yeah, okay.
So that was obviously fresh in our minds.
Yeah.
Most of us are on our first deployment. You know, I don't know shit about shit. And you don't realize where you're at until like something happens, right? This was the turning point for me. First day, we're convoying. It's like 5 a.m, 4 a.m, trying to get through Fallujah, that first bridge before you get into the city.
Oh, Blackwater Bridge.
I don't know if it was Blackwater Bridge. It was one of those bridges.
Yeah, okay.
And we stopped because the convoy thought they saw an IED. So we're just sitting there. And it's 5. What happens at 5? Prayer. Morning prayer.
Yeah.
And you hear that come over the loudspeaker throughout the city.
Oh,
go, hello. And you're like, oh, fuck. We're not in Camp Pendleton anymore.
You're right. And that's a guttural and it's quiet and the birds, like sometimes the birds are, because you're near the Euphrates, are kind of going, and then you just hear this. Sometimes I always laugh because they would, especially the early morning ones, they would have to clear their throat first. So sometimes they're like, and then they would start the prayer, you know, but absolutely. And it is like this ethereal almost kind of moment.
Yeah. So we get on to Camp Fallujah. We start doing left seat, right seat with, I think, it was 3rd Recon at the time. So obviously those dudes had been in country for 7 months. Very good turnover with those guys. We go out first day. It's just me and Tough Nuts, and then all their guys. So,
as a PSD, you're like
we're going out their PSD.
Their PSD. Okay.
We go out with 3rd Recon. We're like 5 minutes out of the gate. I'm in the back of a high back Humvee. Behind me is the last vehicle in the convoy. Both battalion sergeant majors are in there. And within 5 minutes of leaving the gate, we get hit with an IED.
Oh no.
Last vehicle.
Oh shit.
So I'm like, I'm just out doing what I think I need to be doing, right? Providing security. Boom. IED goes off. And I just see the last vehicle just dust. And I'm like, oh shit. Like
Both
sergeants majors, 2 Marines and a gunner are dust. Like that's what I was thinking.
And these were Humvees at the time too.
They were armored Humvees.
Yeah.
This was like the first gen.
Yeah, armored.
Air quotes.
So thanks, Rumsfeld. Armored. Yeah.
So we continue to push, and out of the dust, man, the 4th vehicle just emerges out of the dust. They were good.
The bells were rung. I'm sure that's true.
So turns out, this is early. This is mid 05. IEDs had not been like progressed enough. They didn't have enough experience. Turns out these only the plastic gaps that went.
Oh,
yeah.
I've heard of that. Where I've had a guy in 06 who stepped on like a fire hose. The pressure plate was a fire hose run across the road, and he accidentally stepped on it, and the blasting cap blew, and it shot shrapnel all over him, and it cleared away all the dust, and the blasting cap was incorrectly placed inside of an artillery shell.
Yeah.
Like this guy would have been dust, right?
So, they had like 3 152s.
Oh my God.
So not only would they have been dust, but we probably would have.
Yeah, they had blown the road in half. I mean, absolutely. And anything within a 100-meter radius. 3 152s? Yeah.
So, I appreciate that IED, man. Looking back on
And that's day one.
like, welcome to Iraq.
Dude, you're 10 minutes into your first movement outside the wire.
Yeah.
What are you, 21?
Oh, dude, I was 22,
22.
23.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So we'd pull over, dismount. I see this dude come out of this, like, it was like a river house, like a single, like little, like probably about the size of this room.
Okay.
And he just starts taking off. And I start running after him. I don't know what the fuck to do, Dude, this is like my first deployment, my first patrol.
Yeah.
I've got like 13 fucking mags. I've got like a drop pouch with more mags. I had like a smoke, a fucking frag. I had my IFAC, my Camelback. Like I was just loaded to the brim. Like a skeeter.
Yeah, dude. You got like elbow pads and shit like that.
I had knee pads. I even had the drop holster.
Oh man.
Or the drop pouch.
Yep.
Like, dude, I'm running out this guy, and I'm 22. I'm in good shape.
Yeah.
High first class PFTer.
Yeah.
So I fucking kick this dude in the back, falls over, and
You catch this guy?
I catch him. Yeah.
What?
And he's in like pajamas.
PJs and flip flops,
Yeah,
right? And you track this guy. Oh my God.
Yeah.
If I saw you coming out, whatever it was, I'd give away state secrets if I saw you running at me, man.
And of course, I had the M4 with the 203, and like this. I look like ridiculous.
Oh my gosh.
And so I kicked this dude in the back, put him on the ground, and my first instinct is like just smoke this dude right here. And he turns over, and he's got like Down syndrome.
Oh.
And I could tell like he was. Oh no! And Down syndrome. I'm like, oh man, I'm so glad I didn't just get tired of running and just smoke this guy for running from the crisis site.
Totally right. Culturally, I saw this a lot on the ground in Iraq, that we handle people with disabilities much different in the United States. I don't know about your experience. I've legitimately seen mentally handicapped people who were chained to a post in the ground and had to sleep outside. That is how how they lived. Like,
So he was probably just left in this fucking shack.
So he wasn't like a trigger man or something.
No.
oh my God.
Oh.
Yes.
So I get back over. Sergeant Major was like, surprised you caught him with all that shit on.
That's the first thing he says. It's not like good job.
Yeah. So of course, I get back, mags, frags, I like throwing all of this shit. I think by the end of the deployment, I had like 6 mags.
You're learning quickly.
I had a couple frags in the truck. I think I had 1 smoke on me just in case. But yeah, I love telling that story because it's like every new guy has that. Well, most new guys.
Yeah, I had more than a few of those, so you're good. Yeah, like I think that to me, what I capture in that is the adrenaline, like the chemical cocktail that you obviously had going through your body after being blown up, and then seeing someone dart. You cannot check off any more boxes for rules of engagement, right? And then you had the wherewithal, well, the physical prowess to track this guy down, gun this dude down, well, track him down, right? And then the mental wherewithal to like assess the situation and say, this wasn't the guy, right? That's pretty huge. And I think that I get the testament to like who you are, you know, like
you could have killed him.
You could have killed him.
ROE. I'm sure you could have killed him and had your first kill day one.
Yeah. Dang, man.
Good for you, man.
But dude,
seriously.
That would have haunted me if I'd have smoked that.
I know.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
We got asked to do a lot of tough stuff out there, you know, young men and women having to play, you know, cop, and having people blend into the background. And sure, dude, 2005, we were primed. We were looking for Triggerman. We were looking for sprinters, anything like that. Man, that's kudos to you for not pulling the trigger on that one. That's a hell of a lot of restraint.
Yeah. So that deployment, that was pretty much the flavor of that deployment. We had a couple IEDs that deployment. The next IED we hit was actually hit my vehicle direct. But again, and really perfected. So this time the shells did go off.
Okay.
But they had buried it too deep. And they hit us direct, like right on. I remember we were going out because outside of PSD for the CO and Sergeant Major, we would also augment the companies and do like blocking positions for them to do a raid or to go after an HBT or something like that. So they were going after an HBT. We set up on the outskirts, and then once the raid was done, we RTV'd.
And because you'd have command and control right there, right? And so if anything went awry, you have the authority with the battalion commander there.
Yeah.
And so you were like having to chase down. And I would imagine anytime that there was a known hotspot, you guys were cruising right into, because that's what the battlefield commander wanted to be, right? Or, you know, and wanted to be.
Yeah. I mean, now looking back on it as a retiree, it was basically the scraps, like that the SF, CAG, DevGru didn't want to hit, so they give it to us. So we did this hit. We were in the blocking position.
At night?
No, it was during the day.
Okay.
So we go to leave, and the last thing I remember is like looking down at my map and just blackness. And I remember coming alive a little bit, like just kind of like fog, like the literal fog of war. Right. And I like looked left to my driver, looked back. We had a Navy Chief Corpsman in the back, Chief Brown. And then my gunner was sitting on his saddle seat. And I remember looking up at his hands, and his hands were just like kind of lifeless, you know? And man, like my first initial thought was that like, dude, everybody in the vehicle is dead.
Yeah.
And I'm alive. And I remember feeling like, I remember feeling grateful that I was alive.
Yes.
You know? And then the vehicle's still rolling. I could feel us rolling. And then, you know, one by one, they all started waking up. Colo is my driver. He woke up, and I just remember screaming, like, drive.
Because you're in a kill zone.
I'm in a kill zone. And I can hear him hitting the gas. I didn't know if he had wheels still. Yeah. I didn't know what the deal is, but we came out of the smoke, the dust and the smoke, and I saw the hood was gone. I could just see engine parts. And I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, but I felt us moving, right? I'm like, how are we still moving? And we all four tires were good. The only thing that was missing was the hood.
No.
Just blew the hood off us.
So we pull Majeski out of the turret.
And sorry, Randall, he's dead.
No,
he's alive.
No, he's at the time I'm thinking he's dead.
Because his hands are limp, right? He's passed out.
His hands are limp.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, dude, there's no way he's alive.
Because did they have the protected turrets at that time?
Yeah, so he had a little bit of shielding, and we were the last vehicle, so he was looking to the rear.
Oh, so we had the brunt of the shielding behind him as well, or a lot of it behind him.
or to the side of him.
Okay, yeah.
It hit us on our, as you're driving on our left side. So I think it hit him on his right side.
Okay.
And I can't remember which orientation. He may have been in a different orientation at the time. I don't know. But we pull him down and blood is just running down his face.
Oh my gosh.
And he was still unconscious. And I'm like, oh, he's done. So we got pushed into the back of the vehicle. We had an 18 Delta with us. So luckily, he starts working on him. We stop, open the vehicle. I get out of the vehicle to assess. I knew the TTP at the time was to hit with IED and then start the ambush.
Complex ambush.
So I get up with the gun turret and take over the gun. And I, ratchet machine gun, and I see, the locals in the area starting to scatter. And I'm like, just, amped at this point, like just waiting for it to happen.
Yep.
Luckily for us, doesn't end up happening. We dismount, sweep through, collect the IED initiator, and had like 2 ICOM radios for initiation that were set on different frequencies. Funny enough, now doing what I do now at Androl, I understand the importance of that. So the jammer that we had on our vehicle was able to jam one of the frequencies, just not the other one.
No kidding.
So they were at least that savvy.
Even then.
Yeah, that was so interesting to see how innovative they were. We had ROEs, right? But they were limited by their creativity and resources, and they were absolutely creative. And it was this cat and mouse game. We would develop something to counteract something they had created. Then they would create a new way to counteract what we were It was this whole process. And it was dudes on the front that were just getting banged
on you.
Yeah. So we go back. Majeski's awake by this time. They'd cleaned his face up. It really wasn't that bad. It's just, face wound, had like bleed a lot. He had this like piece of shrapnel sticking in his skull right here, in between the Oakley glasses and his helmet.
Oh my gosh.
And I was always on his ass about wearing the glasses because they were ballistic protection. And it was like the only spot in his face that didn't have shrapnel.
You were like that picture on the poster, or like that came out in the Marines later on, where a guy had something, and he has shrapnel all over his face, but his eyes are protected because he was wearing his eye pro.
Yeah.
There was like, when you go to the COC and they're like, always wearing your eye pro, like stuff like that. No kidding.
So there's a purpose behind it. And I found out.
Yeah.
But I was always on him about it. I would be like, I'd lean over in the turret and I'd be like, I'd see him not wearing them. Especially at night, he wouldn't wear them at night. Guess, I'd make him switch out into his like clear lens once because of the nods and everything. I think, Majeski, glasses now. I like punch him in the leg. So we ended up getting back. And, this is kind of the funnier part of the story. So, they give him some meds on the way back, so he's fucking high as fuck, and he starts wandering and talking about how he's super worried about how his face looks. And I get it, but he was like abnormally worried about it. So come to find out, Majeski on the weekend, he's a good looking dude.
I love this.
He was going down, apparently like downtown on the weekends, and he was like doing modeling. So that's why he was super worried about his face. Because he was like, my career's over.
Yeah. The moneymaker, right?
Yeah, so he's got like beautiful hair, just chiseled body and face, bright blue-eyed dude.
That's funny.
Great personality. I actually ran into him at Home Depot like a couple of years ago.
Come on.
When I first retired, and he was bald now with a beard. I'm like, I guess that modeling career didn't work out, regardless of the IED.
That's pretty good.
Wait, question for both of you. I've never been in an IED hit like that. I know you've both been.
We have the shared experience with it. Yeah.
What movie or show has gotten that feeling right, if any, of the aftermath of a hit like that?
Maybe Fury, with a tank movie where they have the cool mohawks. I think that there is. I think that what I remember personally was the blacking out, the coming to, the bewilderment, and then I just remember a lot of dust. Like it was just a wall of
just
dust.
like what
just ringing in the air. Cloudy, very cloudy. not like everything moving super slow.
Everyone dazed, and then kind of going through their own coming back to coming back to life. I think in different stages and phases.
It's like resetting your computer.
That's exactly it.
You know?
That's exactly.
It's a hard reboot.
It was a hard reboot. And pull the plug on that one, right?
So yeah, man, we go through that deployment. We got into like one gunfight, and that was pretty much it.
Yep.
So we redeploy back home. So typical enlisted man story. I was married at the time. Throughout the whole deployment. And idiot, got married at like 20 years old. And then I was divorced by like 23 or something like that.
You just want to do all of the things that the Marines do, right?
Yeah.
You're just like, I'm doing all the Marine Corps.
You got to check all the boxes. You got to live the full experience.
100%.
Maybe we should make a bingo card one time of like these are the things that you're gonna do, and you're gonna just hit. All right, anyway. So
I think bingo, yeah,
that'd be
the
fun.
podcast bingo would be great.
So we're getting getting ready to come home. We're like 2 weeks out. We're like doing our left seat, right seats, just trying to make it to the end of the deployment. And I call home, and my wife at the time, I could tell I think it was actually for her birthday. Yeah, I called home for her birthday. And back in those days, it wasn't very easy to get a phone call home. It was hard to either you had to go to the
AT&T phone center.
Yeah, the phone center.
And you get preloaded cards. And
yeah. Of course, they charged you for it. Or you can, unless you got the sat phone.
Yes.
So I was able to get the sat
Okay.
phone. So I called her on her birthday, and that's when she chose this is the time to tell me, oh, by the way, when you get home, I'd like to get into war.
No.
2 weeks.
2 weeks from coming home.
Yeah.
And
That's dangerous.
dude,
Right?
yeah. So I'm trying to close out this deployment, going through all this fucking shit, right? And then so she tells me this. And then of course there was a lot of back and forth. I told my command what was going on. She was a Marine. Which was probably my first mistake. You can either choose to leave that in or not. Oh, man.
Funny. I love that.
We get on the 53 to fly out we flew from Fallujah to Al-Qaeda, and I'm on the bird, and I'm sitting next to the door gunner on the 53, and I'd had enough, and I looked down and I realized I was still wearing my ring, and I took it off, and I looked at the door gunner. I'm like, "Hey man, check this out," and he looks at me, and I'm like, "Phew," and chug it out. So it's in probably some Iraqi dude's field somewhere,
Yeah, dude.
and he was like, "What?" And that was like my official okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna do this to me right before I come home. So I come home. It's this fucking shit show. She was cheating on me with all these dudes. As they do. And yeah, man. So come home from first deployment. I survive, right? Yeah. And then I got to deal with this divorce thing.
Your life's in shambles back home.
Yeah, life's perceived shambles, right? Not realizing that I do have a lot going on.
Yeah.
And my buddy Stefan was there for me, my best friend, and he was there. And I remember one day we were driving to Oceanside on Sunday to go to Stud Cuts to get a haircut and a burrito.
Yep. Stud Cuts is where all the Marines would get their haircuts. It was it's like a rite of passage.
Yeah. This is day 4.
Yeah.
Coming home from deployment or whatever. And he's like, "Hey bro, you're 23 years old. You live in Southern California. There's scattered ass all over the place. You're going to be totally fine." And I was like, "Yeah, you know what? You're right." So it turns out, I like to say this because it's funny, but so Stefan, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, sends me a message because he was starting to transition out. So he, do as all Marines do as they transition out, fire up your LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And it pulls up people you may know.
Yeah.
Well, my ex popped up on his radar. You know what she does now? She's a family counselor for the Marine Corps.
No.
Like that has got to be
That is
like the cherry on top.
I love that, dude. That is funny.
Wow.
That is funny. Like, what do you speak from experience? Right?
I wonder if she's like, hey, don't break the news.
Yeah, maybe don't.
Wait till they get home.
Yeah, wait till they get home. Yeah. Midway through the sergeant's course, I get notified that I got orders to New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico. There's a reserve recon unit there.
Oh.
And I was super pissed. I was like, dude, like, I just got home from deployment.
Mhm.
Like, I don't want to go to fucking New Mexico.
Yeah.
I feel like in San Diego.
Yeah.
And I still want to deploy. So I come back to the shop, the Paraloft, and I'm bitching about it. And one of the guys, this guy Dirk Myers, he had just finished his like third deployment as well. And he, or not as well, but he just finished his third deployment. And he was like, dude, I'll take those orders. Like, I need a break.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's like, actually, the monitors are here in Del Mar today. Let's just drive over there.
Yeah.
And go talk to the monitor. I was like, that's a great idea. So we go over there and, waiting in line. Master Gun's like, all right, next. And we both walk up. And he kind of
Two together.
Monitors are a very tricky subject for us to handle because they've heard every sob story in the world and they don't care about yours. And they are giving you orders wherever it is at. And it depends on the 13 seconds that you have with them.
Yeah.
This is like your HR. I mean, I've
Right.
y'all talk about monitors, but for other people, it's like the person who decides where you
go.
Yeah.
And the fate of your existence.
Oh, gosh.
So we both, grab an extra chair, sit down.
I'm like sweating for you right now.
And I was like, hey, Mr. Guns, how you doing? I'm Sergeant Barks. And he said, yeah, I'm Sergeant Myers. And he's like, fuck do you guys want? I was like, hey, look, you just gave me orders to Albuquerque. I'd like to stay here and deploy. And did the thing. But my buddy, Sergeant Myers here, he'd like to actually take those orders, and he's like, all right, fine. He's like, what's your social? He pulls it up. He's like, all right, cool. You're going to Albuquerque. What's your social? Oh, no. And he's like, you're going to MSOB. I'm like, what's the MSOB?
No kidding.
He's like, you're going to go to MARSOC. I'm like, well, can I deploy there? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, I'm in. I was like, where's it at?
Now this is 06 time frame.
This is, 06.
Yep.
This is like, September 06.
Okay.
I didn't know what MARSOC was.
Right.
Well, it was just starting then.
Yeah, it was just starting.
Yeah, it was just starting. I knew what Det 1 was, which
Mhm.
was the previous unit that turned into MARSOC. And he's like, yeah, you can deploy there, and it's here on Pendleton. No cost to me. So I'm like, cool.
Don't do it.
He's like, I was like, when am I going? He's like, you got 30 days. Oh, okay, cool.
Right.
So yeah, I had orders, and I ended up checking into, first MSOB at the time,
Okay.
Marine Special Operations Battalion,
Right.
which is now First Raider Battalion. And I check into the Paraloft there. And yeah, dude, it was awesome.
Oh yeah, because it was kind of a time frame where you had half of them. Now, please correct me if I was wrong, but half of them were former Force Recon guys, and then you had infantry, and then you had the MSOAG at the Special Operations Advisory Group. So you had kind of a similarity to some of your Green Berets. So there was an aspect that was similar into foreign internal defense. So training as Green Berets would, and then you had the Force Recon element that was a lot more of the direct action or deep reconnaissance. So it was an amalgamation of both. And it was a Rumsfeld initiative to start Marine Special Operations in 2004. Det 1 was the precursor for that, where they worked with the SEAL teams and the DEBGRU and CAG overseas in the 04, 05s, and then they were formalizing it in 06 into an actual Marine unit.
Yeah. So I went over there. I think at the time it was first MSOB, second MSOB, and then what became third MSOB, I believe, was FMTU,
That's
Foreign
what it
Military
was. Yeah.
Training Unit.
Is that Marine Special Operations Battalion, or is that MSOB?
Yeah, that later, long after I left, they became the Raider Battalions. So first, second, and third Raider Battalion. Because FMTU folded and became third MSOB. But yeah, it was kind of a strange time, man, because the Marine Corps didn't want that unit to exist. SOCOM at the ground level didn't really want it to exist. It was more of a forced you will do type thing. And I was a sergeant at the time. I didn't realize any of that or care. was way above my level. But now looking back on it, I can see why some things happened the way they did. But again, man, like the common theme is, an opportunity presented itself. I just kind of fell into it. So I check in the MSOB. I was there for maybe 6-7 months. Okay. So yeah, I checked in like November, I think, of 06. And then my master sergeant walks in one day and he's like, hey, Sergeant so-and-so was one of the riggers assigned to Bravo Company. He can't go on this deployment. His wife is having some like pregnancy complications. Would you like to volunteer to go? I'm like, yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Like, say less.
Yeah, 3
I'm
thumbs
in.
up. Yeah.
So my buddy Lloyd was already Lloyd Johnson, was already the other rigger there. And I was like, oh, Lloyd, like, this could be great. And a lot of the guys in Bravo Company were guys that I was at First Recon with.
Correct.
So they were already like mid workup. They were deploying in like 90 days.
Oh, wow.
So I had like 90 days to like get my shit together.
Chop to a unit, get used to everybody. Luckily, you knew some of them from beforehand and spin up real quick and where did you guys end up deploying to?
So we ended up getting on the 11th MEU and we floated off thinking we were going to Iraq. That's what we were told. That's kind of what they had told us we were going to go. And like literally like 4 days off the coast, they're like, oh no, by the way, you're going to Afghanistan.
Oh, okay.
So none of us had like cold weather gear. This is December.
Oh yeah.
November, December of 07. Yeah, 07. And we're like, oh fuck. Now I had cold weather gear because I had my peak kit.
Yes.
As a free faller.
Yep.
So I had all my shit. Yeah. So the peak kit's like a cold weather kit that you get given to you when you're like on a jump team or whatever. And it's like, it helps keep you warm at altitude. Cause if you're jumping out at 25,000 feet, it's -3 degrees per 1,000 feet. So you can imagine on the ground, if it's 100 degrees, it's 25 degrees at altitude. So it's funny when you jump in hot weather, you got to pick your poison.
Because you're screaming.
Do you want to freeze your balls off and then sweat?
You're exiting at 25K, moving about 200 miles an hour. Wind, frostbite, or wind chill is a factor, and then you're landing at 100 degrees. There's a 75-degree difference.
Sorry, how long is the time of flight on that? Like,
depends on your opening altitude. Right, so if you open at like 24,000 feet, or immediately if you're on double bag, you're coasting for 45 minutes.
Yeah, so it's not like
immediate getting warm,
sweaty for 4 minutes. Yeah, it could be 20 minutes. You're sweating.
So I usually split the difference.
Okay.
Wore some sniv, on the inside. But anyway, I brought that kit with me, so I was good. But the guys were like literally emailing home or buying shit off the internet, having it shipped
to an APO address.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we ended up in Afghanistan.
Where in Afghanistan did you guys do? So how did you leave the boats, or the ships, excuse me?
So we got off 45-day transit, crossed the Atlantic, or the Pacific. Hit some lipoports along the way. So
is that right?
It wasn't too bad.
Okay. How were those lipoports knowing you're going to Afghanistan?
I mean, we went to Guam. Just kind of day. We had like beer on the pier, But yeah, we get into Afghanistan, and my other rigger counterparts stayed up in Kandahar as like a liaison, and then I went down with the company. We get down there, and I had this buddy of mine, Dan Vigley, and Dave Dannell was the ops chief for that company. He ended up becoming the ops chief because the other ops chief had to go home for from some reason. And Dannell was a comm guy, comm chief, but he had a lot of experience, so they made him like the quote unquote ops chief. And so I ended up becoming a machine gunner. In his gun truck.
And were you guys Humvees still at the time now in Afghanistan?
We had GMVs, which were like super tricked out Humvees.
That's real.
So they like standard Humvee, right? No, there was no trunk. It was like a flatbed.
Yeah.
And you could put all your ammo and gear back there, or you could put 2 dudes back there. Yeah. And we had scissor mount machine guns. So my gun truck had 3 240s.
Oh wow. Yeah. A little porcupine of death, right?
Yeah, and then I was on the main turret. I didn't know that. I didn't realize this till later on in the deployment, but Daniel knew that I was an 03, but he assumed that I was a machine gunner. He had no idea that I was an anti-tank,
Right.
like in my first 4 years. But I knew how to operate the 240. It's pretty easy to operate. So yeah, I ended up being a machine gunner that had.
That's crazy. Okay, and how long was that? So you came on the Muse, so 45 days in to transit. How long were you guys in country for? That was a pretty kinetic one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So that was like that was my most kinetic deployment.
Okay.
And this is MARSOC, right? So
Yes.
like you've done a recon deployment. What is the difference? Mission set?
No difference really. Like
It's the same.
it was all the same dudes. It was literally the same dudes that I like was just on deployment with at first. Maybe we had some better gear at the time.
Scissor mounted gun trucks, apparently. Yeah, for one.
A little bit more relaxed on the grooming standards and shit. Yeah, dude. So it was cool, man. Like, but the thing that I appreciated the most about that deployment was not only was it super kinetic the whole deployment, but all the dudes in the company had multiple combat deployments by this point. The guys like Ralph Waller, I think he was on his 4th deployment.
So super seasoned guys going.
Yeah, Daryl Hall,
Yeah.
like John Brown, like all these dudes, just super senior guys. I was on my 2nd deployment. So I got to like learn a lot from these guys. Honestly, like I credit those group of guys for like really kind of keeping me in the Marine Corps because I was planning on getting out.
Okay, so what can you tell me? Elaborate a little bit more on that.
I was at like my 7-year mark, and I was planning on just coming home and just getting out because my first deployment just was kind of demoralizing, But dude, why is that? Because all we did was get hit with IEDs and sniper fire.
Yes.
So there was no
You couldn't fight back.
there's no payback.
Yeah. You were just driving around that time frame. You were just kind of, for lack of a better term, sometimes just victims, man.
Yeah.
We kept the routes open so that we could keep supply bases supplied to keep the routes open. And the Mujahideen or whoever it was at the time, AQ was just targeting the crap out of it because they knew we were on a habitual cycle, and they just targeted the crap out of us.
And then so let me kind of set the scene.
Yeah.
Like we're out, bad guy land, alone and unafraid. We're rolling deep, dude. Like 10 gun trucks, like all these dudes. Like we had like tons of school trained snipers, JTACs coming out of our ears, like just bringing to bear the fight.
Yeah.
And again, going back to like SOCOM didn't really know what to do with us. The Fox company incident just happened. It kind of created this like us against them type environment. Like you guys are cowboys.
So you would get
professional.
MARSOC versus SOCOM or versus the
like that whole incident had happened. That turned out to be all bullshit. Funny enough. But anyway, we were kind of dealing with that at the time. So they were just like, yeah, go down to the FOB price, build your own intel, prosecute your own targets. And we were like, okay. So we just started like, at least my recollection at the time, we just started like having the dudes plot points on the map where guys were talking on phones. And we would just plan our routes. We would do a CRP, Combat Reconnaissance Patrol, just direct through the center of all the red dots.
just picking fights.
Yeah, just picking fights. We'd go there. All of a sudden, the locals would start leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, boom, and then it would clack off. So like very different from my first experience, first deployment. Second deployment, I'm like on a machine gun, sending rounds downrange, worried about like if I need to change out my fucking barrel,
Right.
because it's getting hot.
Wow.
On one particular engagement, I'm looking down, I see the JTAC. He's like this guy Rob Dwyer. He was a backseater on F-18.
Nice.
And his call sign was Munchbox.
Whoa.
I'm like, how did you get that call sign?
PG rate. Yes.
He's like, how do you think I got it?
Oh my gosh.
So he's like double fisting comms.
Yep.
Just dropping bombs everywhere. And dude, it was like what you like think a deployment was going to be like. And it was awesome. And I like re-enlisted. I was like, I'm in. I was like, I'm in.
Marines are meant to fight. Like that is it. Like don't like that's I've seen that time and again where it's like this. We were put on this earth for one thing, and that is to bring to bear the force of the United States onto the enemy. And to try to change that mission up from what the Marines are built and designed to do, it is often extremely frustrating. And I'm so glad that you had the opportunity to like just run into, to the fire and bring hate and discontent with you.
Yeah. So it was awesome.
Just a quick word from our sponsor, Delete Me, and we'll get right back to this episode. Delete Me makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. Data brokers make a profit off your data. Your data is a commodity. Anyone on the web can buy your private details. This can lead to identity theft, phishing attempts, and harassment. But now, you can protect your privacy with Delete Me. As someone with an active online presence, privacy is really important to me, especially with my background at the agency and in the military. I've been doxxed before by some unsavory characters, and it puts me and my family at risk. Additionally, as technology advances, it's even easier for people to find me. So I love getting my reports from Delete Me on what they found and helped remove from my online footprint to help protect me and my family. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Now at a special discount for our listeners. Today, get 20% off your Delete Me plan by texting COMBAT to 64000. The only way to get 20% off is to text COMBAT to 64000. That's COMBAT to 64000. Message and data rates apply. And now, back to this episode.
What was one of the toughest ops in that deployment for you? Whether it was like a difficult leadership decision, spur of the moment call that had to be made, close to losing someone, close to losing yourself.
Yeah. So like I can't remember what time frame it was in the deployment, but we had this, TTP to try and get the Taliban to come out and fight us. We would go up on a hill, expose ourselves, set up there. You'd start hearing the chatter. And then before we knew it, they were launching mortars on us. So we were up there. I can see Daryl and a couple other guys off in the distance in a sniper position, just trying to get SA. They launched first mortar round. It lands like near their position. And if anybody knows anything about the mortar capability of the Taliban, like phenomenal capability. Like one round in adjustment and they're on target. So they launch it, hits. Daryl and the two other dudes get up and they're just sprinting. And I'm like, run!
That's because like this next round that's going to hit.
There's one following right.
So you heard, as soon as they got up, you heard the next one. Tunk! And they're running and it hit. Bam! Right where they were set up. So we start loading Vicks, pulling off the hill. We got birds overhead, trying to locate positions on the ground. All the vehicles are going down the hill into some defilade, so they're out of sight of the mortar position or mortar team, enemy mortar team. And I'm the last vehicle on the hill. And we're like in this line. We have to get off the fucking hill.
You have a knack for being the last vehicle, by the way.
Dude. And like, I'm freaking out in the turret, right? Because I can hear them walking them on. Dunk, boom, dunk.
You're just watching them.
Watching them walk in on us.
And you're in a traffic jam.
And I'm in a traffic fucking jam. So, when people like, sometimes when my wife gets irritated with me, when I get irritated in traffic, I'm like that story comes into my mind.
What's the discussion in the vehicle?
I'm like, Dad, drive the fucking car. It's chaos. And
because you're seeing them.
Even outside of that,
this guy.
Even outside of that, this dude Borja, his truck left him, and he's sprinting, running. And they're like, it's like out of a movie, dude. It's like they're walking the rounds in behind him, and he jumps on the back of our GMV, holding on for dear life, and a round hits like right behind our vehicle.
Are you serious?
It covers us with dust and frag. And I get knocked into the gun. And I'm like, God damn it. You know? So I like in the back are two original Victor 6 members and Bora. So I peek over and I'm like, hey, you guys good? Like, because it hit closer to them than it did me, and I had a turret to protect me. So Borja Rogers up, he's good. He like, and the other guy says he's good, and then this dude Pittman, he kept like looking at his like arm, and I think like he just didn't want to believe that he'd gotten wounded. So I like take your hand off, and he takes it off, and it's like,
Oh shit.
I'm like, God, you know. And Borja like rips off his tourniquet, like tourniquets him up. We get off the hill. We give him like a morphine lollipop. And so, dude, he's like high as fuck.
There's a pattern with people around you in combat, getting wounded and then getting really stoned, right? Like on the way back.
It's like the progression. You get wounded, you get stoned.
I'm never getting in the car with you.
So he like starts talking about how he's like a corporal and he hasn't done any of his MCIs. His like, you know, knowledge stuff that he's got to do to get points for promotion.
Get promoted, yeah.
And you know, it's you know, it was funny. The things that you think about when you're high
and under duress, you're like, oh man, I'm not going to get promoted, right?
Yeah. So we ended up getting I think it was a 47 came in, got him out of there, and then the leadership was kind of deciding on what they wanted to do. So they were throwing it out like, hey, do we want to just go back to the base? Like, and one of the guys was like, no, fuck that. Like, they wounded one of our guys. We're gonna go back up on the hill and we're gonna get some payback. So they devised this plan to send an element back up on the hill and then everyone else dismount, push out into the green zone, the wadis. And basically we'd set up his base of fire up on the hill and these guys would push through and assault through. So of course my vehicle was one of the ones to go up on the hill to be fucking bait for the damn mortar team, who's obviously very good.
Yeah, and I bet you're loving this.
Yeah. And dude, as they're talking about this, man, I'm like sweating, and it's wintertime. I'm like sweating, like post gunfight, and you know, coming down off of it. I kind of slump over into my like saddle on my seat, and I'm like, I'm struggling trying to stay awake. Like I feel like I'm gonna pass out
because you're crashing. You're
crashing. Yeah. And I can feel myself like twitching. And I grab my Camelback and I'm just trying to pound water.
Take a knee, drink water, right? That's the old Marine trope.
Like that'll solve it.
Yeah. Like they were programmed as Marines. If you're gonna pass out, it's probably because you're dehydrated.
Drink water.
So unless you want the fucking silver bullet,
that's exactly.
You better drink water.
If I pass out and I don't have a Camelback, I'm getting plugged, right?
I'm getting violated with the silver bullet. Like how fucked up.
Wait, what's a silver bullet?
Thermometer. They do a core temperature check.
Yeah, but the drill instructors make you believe that it's like this fist thick thing they're gonna shove up your ass.
It's like a turkey thermometer, whatever it is.
Yeah, dude. And I'm like, so I'm thinking about this. I'm in the middle of a gunfight, about to pass the fuck out, drinking water. So I felt my driver, Dan, like reach up and like grab my leg. And he's like, hey dude, like, are you good? And then instant, like I was good.
No kidding.
That was it.
That was it.
You needed.
And I just needed like a little touch.
But why though?
I don't know.
Was it?
I think he knew that I was like coming off of it.
Yeah, but for you, was it like, hey, all these guys, they're going to need me in a minute. Like, I got to man up. And
I don't know.
Wow.
I think maybe I was passing out like because of my first IED experience. Like maybe that. I don't know.
So that brought you back to reality, right? Or brought you back to the moment.
So I kill the Camelback.
Because we're still
I don't want to get plugged.
And the enemy's probably like, why are they going back on the hill?
Yeah.
Get the stuff.
And why is this guy drinking so much water?
Yeah, all right, so you're going back.
So we go back up on the hill, and within a few minutes, man, they're dropping mortars on us.
Oh boy.
So the ops chief had this idea to like split the trucks, send a group of trucks this way and a group of trucks that way. Like get some dispersion. I think we were like 300 or 400 or 500 meters apart. Okay. So then now the mortar team has to choose because we knew there was only one mortar. So we figured they had to choose. Well, when we split, I was in this vehicle. We went to the north. The other vehicle went to the south. I didn't realize this until afterwards, but we had pushed so close to the enemy's position that they had to displace, because they would have had to put the tube, basically vertical, to hit us. So what they were doing is they were spotting us from the front or to our west, and they were shooting at us from the north.
Okay.
So they started displacing. And I'm like, good little machine gunner, up on the hill, scanning the area, looking for targets.
We've been combing the desert for hours.
And I'm like in an elevated position, and I see these dudes in this like little canal, like bop it up.
The little bobbleheads.
Little bop it up and down. And I can see, one of them's got, a couple of them got AKs. One guy's got an RPG.
Uh-oh.
One guy's got a fucking, the tube.
Yep.
And the other guy's got the baseball.
What distance are you thinking?
I'm thinking like 500 meters out. It's well within
my 240
range.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like about the machine gunner's wet dream.
Yeah, that is it.
Like that was the first thought that came into my mind.
100% it. Yeah.
Things you're taught in like infantry basic, like never get caught as the machine gunner's wet dream, like close together,
a prime target
range.
Mortar team, like your target precedence list effectively, like you're just waiting to get picked off.
So I remember thinking that, like right before I just lay into these guys. I don't know why I thought that.
Yeah. Well, you'd been trained in
things, just the things you think.
You had the machine gunner's wet dream, right?
Yeah.
Like at that moment, right?
And I happened to be the machine gunner.
That's sick.
So I like made a couple adjustments on my T&E. I had these like sick like butterfly grips in my 240.
Because SOCOM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just let him have it, dude. Like all my anger, all my fucking hate and discontent for what had just happened to Pittman. And I just let him fucking have it. And I'm just like extra long bursts.
Were you yelling while this happened? Or
no. I do remember like dropping my binos down into the turret, and it hit right before I just let him have it. And my ops chief was already dismounted, and so I'm firing over his head.
Yeah. And there's like percussion from that.
Yeah, and so he's like looking around, where the fuck is this coming from? And I remember hearing the adjacent truck over my Silex comm set. And he's like, "God damn, man, Parks is getting some." So I'm laying rounds on these dudes. I probably let, like, my first initial burst was probably 200 rounds on these guys.
For
extra hate.
For record, their 3 to 6 round bursts, right, is somewhere in that speed, and you're supposed to let the gun cool because you only have 2.
No, full send.
And an ammo crate or an ammo box is 200 rounds, and so you're doing
man. I can't remember. I wasn't counting them as they were going out.
Sure.
At least my record, like
full. Let's call it Winchester when you're out.
I was full send. Yeah, I'm gonna send this little fucking belt to these bitches. That's what I was thinking. And for whatever reason, like I can tell I'm having impacts down there. It's hitting in there because they're clumped up. And for whatever reason, one guy gets out of the trench, out of defilade, and runs along the trench. I don't know if I like hit the guy in front of him and that freaked him out and he had to like run around him or something. But as he gets out, I remember like tracking him, and I'm like, what a fucking idiot. That's like what I'm thinking. And I stitch him up. He falls in. I end up changing out. And I can hear Daddy's like, what the fuck is going on up there? I was like, I found the mortar team. I'm engaging.
You haven't given any comms at this point.
No.
You're just 200 rounds.
Yeah. Change out the belt. Send some more rounds downrange just until they all stop moving. And I felt good about it.
Yeah.
I was like, man, fuck these dudes.
Yeah, that's tough.
And it's a payoff target, right? Like those mortar teams are highly trained.
Yeah.
Fuck. Now
they almost had you. Yeah.
Now hindsight, we're probably the ones that fucking trained them.
Right?
Yeah. So yeah, super payoff target. Guys are moving through the wadis and then in the green zone. We're getting ready to wrap up that deployment. We go back to Kandahar. And that's where I've made this story famous. I never thought that this story would catch as much legs as it did, but the famous getting life out of the PX Gunny story.
Okay, I'm ready for this.
So the backstory behind that is like, I just finished a full kinetic deployment, right? Or like, we had just convoyed from Price up to Kandahar, finally landed at a place that has a fucking PX.
Yes.
Right? Because
Yes.
where I was, we barely had running water. We had like good food, a decent gym, good place to sleep, warm place to sleep. But I finally land into like Slavland, And so like I get off the truck, all my shit is in a jingle truck. All I got on me is the stuff that you have on you for being out in bad guy land.
I already know where this is going just based on how you're presenting the story.
Yeah.
I'm sweating because I sweat more at these stories than I do the combat stories. I'm excited to hear where this goes.
So dude, I need to get to the PX. Like I need deodorant. I need like some real toothpaste.
Yep.
I need some lickies and chewies.
Yeah, not beef jerky, right?
Yeah.
I don't want any more.
Yeah, I want some real shit, with a PX. And I think the reason why this story is super popular is because everybody has had this experience that is like a combat veteran has been out in the shit. And I come back to a place where a guy still thinks it's fucking Camp Lejeune.
Yeah.
So I go in there, I get my fucking bags of lickies and chewies, dude. I'm like super pumped. Motivation and morale is super high.
Morale is high.
I go to the PX, which is near like the SODIF compound, and I'm wearing a gray jacket top,
which is issued. It's the peak gear, so the peak equipment.
I love that jacket. Yes.
I have no cover on because I don't know where it is.
I haven't seen that in months.
I've seen that in fucking months.
Beard?
No beard. I mean, I had a little scruff. A couple days scruff.
No,
like maybe like
worse.
maybe like
worse.
Yeah, persona non grata at that point. Yeah.
And I mean, I look rough. My hair is fucking everywhere. Maybe it's about this length.
Yeah.
I don't even know the last time I had a haircut, and I'm walking out of the PX and they had like this HESCO barrier, channelization in and out of the PX. So I'm walking and I see this guy around the corner, Marine around the corner, and he's got like the typical Fugit Miami Vice holster,
stupid leather one or whatever.
Yeah, with the two mags here,
dude.
like the "I'm never leaving the wire."
I'm looking at you on this one, Ryan.
We would wear those. We're pilots, all right.
That's different.
It's a break.
But I could tell as he's getting closer, I noticed that his like cover was starched, and like his boots are immaculate.
Oh yeah.
And I can also see that inside his eyes, his head is fucking exploding.
Wait, what rank are we talking?
I'm a sergeant.
Yeah, what's he?
He's got to be second.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah.
So as I'm walking up, I get about 6 feet from him, and he's like, "Stop!"
Oh.
And I'm like, I got my weapon, I got my bags of lickies and chewies, and he's like, look me up and down, and his fucking does not compute, And he's like, he just starts from bottom to top, like, where are your authorized boots? What kind of top is that? Why is your weapon painted? I don't even want to know. Last time you had a haircut. And I was like, to be honest with you, Gunny, I don't know last time I had a haircut either.
You chose the wrong answer.
And he's like, it's gunnery sergeant.
Oh.
And I was like, so every Marine knows.
Yeah.
When you call a gunny, and he comes back, it's gunnery sergeant.
It's going to be a long conversation. Yeah, you're going to be there for a minute.
And I'm like, so he's freaking out. And I'm like, look, Gunny, he's a gunnery sergeant. Gunnery sergeant. Obviously, like if I'm this jacked up, like somebody authorized me to be this way.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, like I want you to take me to this person. So my first thought, because the person is like Gunny Crawdad.
Yo, yes.
Captain
Is that
Seeley.
his real last name?
Crawford.
Yeah, so
But we called him
yeah,
Crawdad.
yeah.
Recon MARSOC extraordinaire also takes no shit from anybody, right?
Viking tattoos.
Yeah.
Long, blonde, luscious locks.
So are you leading this other gunny to his slaughter, basically?
Yes. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, dude, if I take this guy to Crawdad, he's going to fucking kill him. So I'm like walking to the gate of the SODIF compound. And I'm like, I got to think quickly. And I realized, the gunnery sergeant doesn't have a badge. So I speed up a little bit before their specialist is at the gate, show my badge. He's like, yeah, you good. And I walk through and he stops the gunny. He's like, hey, where's your badge? He's like, oh, I don't have one. I'm with him. I'm like, hey, man, I never seen this dude before. Like, I don't know this guy. And I keep walking. And he's, the gunnery sergeant is in this, like, anger level 10 with this specialist who now has to deal with this fucker. And I'm walking away, and he's like, hey, he gives me like the old man fist.
Yeah,
hey, get back here. And I'm like, have a good day, Gunny.
You're like, I just hope I don't see him in the chow hall or something.
Yeah, so like,
You must have
I get back.
compound until you're.
Yeah, no, I get back. I tell Crawdad what happened. And he's like, oh, you should have let him in.
Like, you should be thanking me for this.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
Pissed off.
Yeah, I just saved your life. So then, like a day later, Deagle trucks arrive. I signed my authorized cover. I'm like, I need to go out to go get a haircut.
Oh no.
And I go to the gate and I'm like,
Is this guy prowling?
Yeah.
like looking for him.
He's like posted up waiting.
I was like,
for
I at least got to get a haircut. And then he I'll blend in. He won't go. Because I was, So that's the backstory. So we go home that deployment.
Wait, you didn't see him again? Did you?
No, I never ran.
That's hilarious, dude.
There's a whole, again, this kind of blew up. I never realized this was going to happen, but there are people online in the threads that are trying to find this guy. And they're like narrowing it down. And there's been a couple names of who the possible suspects could have been.
Oh,
They're like, dude, we got to get the gunny.
That would be great to have you guys sit. I wonder what that conversation would look like.
Oh,
if-
dude,
I hope it would be.
I would give my next retirement paycheck for that to happen.
No. Would it be cool though, or no? Like,
It depends on him. It depends on
you
him.
gotta
It'd be
hope
cool for me.
now it would be
Yeah,
like-
exactly. Because you might be living rent free in this guy's head for like a decade at this point. Right? I'll never forget that one sergeant.
Fucker. He said gunny at the end. So
I want to ask you something before we go. So we're leaving this deployment.
Yeah.
When you're talking about this like moment where you're taking these 4 guys out, this mortar team, I don't know if this is the first time you've taken someone's life or not, but is there something that you guys have determined that has worked? Like, more of a junior guy on a deployment, even though you've deployed before, like you said, these other guys have 3 to 4 deployments. You're on your second. Is there something you say to guys after they've taken a life that's proven to be helpful?
no one ever really said anything to me about it. I didn't really say anything about it. It's like, that's the way it is.
And is that healthy? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not
like
trying to make this
like I have
but-
no consternation. No, it doesn't keep me awake at night. Don't give a shit.
So if I may, interject on something that I kind of discovered is our culture really emphasizes, killing the enemy, right? And so when we do that, we have this group of people that are all around that are like, hey, they'll fist bump, hey, nice job. We're not, we're not in the morbid sense of you like, you so awesome, you killed someone. It's like you did, you did your job.
I think it's more like it's just business.
Yep.
It is strictly
I don't
personal.
feel one way or another about it.
And
I
these
think
guys were about to, they were actively trying to kill you.
Yeah. I think if it was like, maybe a little kid or something, that may have affected me differently.
Yeah.
And sorry, one other thing.
Yeah.
I know the Marines are notoriously bad at giving out medals. Like the guy who had the shrapnel on his forehead, I'm assuming
He got a Purple Heart. Yeah.
But even in the Marine Corps, I feel like maybe that's not a given. Some of these things you're doing, like
It's kind of a crapshoot for medals.
you got a Purple Heart by this time.
No.
Blown up, and
I've gotten blown up, and I had lost some consciousness for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
that's not good enough.
But that meets the actual requirement.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, but I never put in for
Right,
it.
You're not going to do that.
Like,
yeah. Okay.
I just felt terrible that my gunner was wounded and he was getting the Purple Heart. And I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna put it that.
Yep. Okay.
Now, hindsight, I probably should have, because there are some benefits. that
Yeah,
come
it'll
with
help
that,
that later on.
but
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay.
I get enough. So I come home from that deployment, very different from my first deployment coming home, because my wife, who was my fiance at the time, was there. And we were planning, we had already planned the wedding and everything, and we got back. And I kind of told her before this deployment, like, hey, I want to make sure that you can make it through this deployment.
Yeah, can you be there when I get
But
gun
it was
check.
good for her too. Like, hey, this is what you're signing up for,
Yes.
And she was there, man. Like, she was there when I got off the bus. She already had our apartment set up. Like we were getting married in like a month.
Yeah.
We got married down at MCRD San Diego, the Bayview Club. It was beautiful. Had a bunch of the dudes from that deployment as sword detail guys in my wedding.
Wait, for those, there's a picture, it looks like, of y'all.
Yeah.
And you're in the uniform, of course, for people who can't see this.
Yeah. So it was awesome. And then, so I ended up going on another deployment. That was the first SODIF that went downrange. I was on SODIF. Not very kinetic deployment for me in the position. I was actually doing like parachute rigger stuff and then I moved down to be like the camp commandant and did that, where I was like running the Afghans and all that. I had like an interpreter, which we can talk about another time.
Yes.
That we ended up getting out of Afghanistan later on. Then I got back from that. I really wanted to go to BRC to pursue becoming a reconnaissance Marine. But my master at the time, because it's 3 months long.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm not letting you do that like for 3 months. Crawdad was the chief at the time.
He was.
And he was like, hey bro, Parks, I can get you over here, no problem. And it was like a golden opportunity that I just couldn't get to happen. So I'm like, all right, well, and I'm gonna go do something for my career. So I put in a package for drill instructor duty. I hadn't heard anything back. It'd been a minute. I'd already re-enlisted. I was a staff sergeant by this point. I'd been in like 10 years. It's pretty seasoned. 3 combat deployments under my belt by this point. So again, the monitors just happened to be on like the air station on Pendleton. So I went over there to meet with the DI monitor, just kind of see what's going on. Lo and behold, I didn't realize this, but there was like some kind of budget deficit at the time, which is why they hadn't issued the orders.
Imagine that.
Yeah,
right.
So I go the gunny monitor, DI monitor, and he's like, yeah, bro, let me pull you up. Yeah, you're totally qualified. I got you. I'll slate you for the January class, which was only a couple months away, for PI. I'm like, oh, cool. What's PI mean?
Oh, no.
He's like, Parris Island.
Oh, no.
And I'm like,
Why is this bad though? I mean,
because Parris Island's in South Carolina.
Yeah, so just because you don't want to go to the East Coast?
Yeah, no.
And you're volunteer.
I'm a West.
People,
I'm obviously a West Coast.
People who volunteer for drill instructor, like that's very that doesn't happen very often, right? And so generally they get, a little preferential treatment, and they volunteer to be a DI.
No. And he was like, well, this is what I got for you, man. Like, do you want to be a drill instructor or not? I'm like, not really that bad. So the reason I wanted to stay in San Diego, I wanted to go to San Diego because I owned a house right at the time in Temecula. Yeah. My wife, we just had a baby, my son Brody, and she never left California. She grew up in Rancho Santa Fe and Del Mar, and she just never wanted to leave. So I ended up taking the orders to drill instructor duty. This is, I think, January of 2011. Yeah, as I checked in 2-11 drill instructor duty, Parris Island.
So you're hot off of kinetic, just
3 combat deployments in 4 years.
And you're stepping in to become a drill instructor at Parris Island, which again, I will give Parris Island a lot of credit as far as boot camps go. I'm sure they have it a lot. Sand fleas are like a thing out there that we don't have in California. I'm never going to go on record saying one is harder than the other, but I would not, as a West Coast graduate, I would not want to go to Parris Island.
They call you Hollywood Marines.
Yeah. We get issued Ray-Bans.
Now, I've been a San Diego recruit. I will say this. I've been a San Diego recruit, Parris Island drill instructor, and a first sergeant on San Diego. Parris Island is harder. Wow. Because of the weather.
It's so hot.
So gauntlet thrown, ladies and gentlemen, for any Marines out there, you have it here.
And I'm a West Coast dude through and through, right? I love margaritas and Mexican food.
Yeah.
Right. Are you starting out as that kill hat, like you were describing the 4 people? You start at the bottom, I assume, and you work your way to...
So I go through drill instructor school.
I couldn't imagine him as a kill hat.
Shaved head.
Because of how mean he looks, that's what I'm
so nice.
Nice guy.
Yeah, put that smoky on, right? Yeah.
I graduated DI school. I finished second in the class. My roommate actually, Zane Mormon, who is still in, Sergeant Major Mormon, finished first by 0.2 or something. Yeah. He was better at drill than me.
Yeah.
So I check into hotel company as a new drill instructor. The day Dev Guru killed Bin Laden.
Oh, wow.
The day. Or the day after.
Sure.
The day after they announced it. So I check in. I'm walking in to meet my team, my drill instructor team, and they're talking about like teaching column left and all this shit. And I kind of interject as a new drill instructor.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, hey guys, like, did you hear the SEALs got Bin Laden last night? That's awesome. You know, just trying to make conversation as the new guy. And they looked up at me and they're like, yeah, we heard about it. So we're going to teach column left by like you and me. And I'm like,
It just never ends.
how are you not pumped about this? Like, and I realized, I was like, I think I made a mistake coming down here.
Can you talk about a little bit, this would be great, because we've never had a drill instructor on this show. I don't want to ever put words in your mouth. Can you talk about the culture of being a new drill instructor and what that's like inside of the pecking order that we have as a service?
So I think it really depends on what time frame you went down there. 2011, getting down there, like they were hard on the new drill instructors. Now hotel company, they treated me fairly, but they trained you hard. And yeah, dude, you are fucking like low man on the totem pole.
You're nobody. 3 combat deployments, staff sergeant,
Yeah.
nobody. He's a nobody now, starting over as a new hat.
We're basically starting over. And I remember my sergeant major, he was like this Boston guy, you know, and he fucking put into perspective one day because I was talking to my senior drill instructor. Mind you, I've been in 10 years now. My senior drill instructor had been in the Marine Corps like 6 fucking years. Like 4 or 5 and a half.
And that's all they did was
No, he like did, you know, a short tour in the fleet, like his first 4 years, and then became a drill instructor.
But he was a drill instructor longer than Randall was.
Yeah,
So-
so he'd been down there. He was like meritoriously promoted. The golden child of the company was my first senior drill instructor when I was a new hat. And I remember like talking to him, standing parade rest.
And you're the same rank, right?
And we're the same rank, but I have way more time in service than him.
Wow.
And Sergeant Major comes around. He's like, hey, Staff Sergeant. Why are you standing at parade rest for this, Staff Sergeant?
Hey, that's awesome. Okay.
He's like, how long have you been in the Marine Corps? I was like, 11 years, come up on 11 years. He's like, hey, senior drill instructor, how long you been in the Marine Corps? He was like 5.5 years. He's like, so what the fuck are you standing parade rest for this boot motherfucker?
No shit.
And I was like, yeah, you're right.
I am so glad that happened.
But it seems how this guy controls when I get to go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to play the game.
Yeah.
Myers, his name's Cesar Myers. He was a good dude, man. He treated me right. But it was just funny.
Yeah. Because that's not normal, right? Like the sergeant major coming in and then kind of correcting that, because I've heard, and I've never been a drill instructor, but I've heard that all the attaboys in the world, that who you were before you were a drill instructor does not matter.
No.
It matters the senior drill instructor.
So it matters depending on the company and the culture that is instilled in there. It was very much a pecking order type culture there when I got there. But anyway, I was not a good drill instructor my first cycle. I just didn't have the personality. Like, it's a language. It's like learning a language. And I just did not have like the personality for it, or so I thought. But after, a couple weeks go by, a couple months go by, you're malnourished, thirsty, tired.
Did you do like the lemon juice thing? Like the drill? Like
keep your throat from fucking blowing
They
out.
scream so much.
You're screaming, like, you're not yelling. You're screaming at recruits. I remember one time I screamed at a recruit so loud, a chunk of my fucking neck came out and like landed on his jowl. I didn't say anything.
Just kept yelling at him.
I just kept yelling, what? And dude,
What's the trick? Like just drinking lemon?
you got to scream from your stomach, from your diaphragm.
So you just learn how to.
Instead of screaming from your neck.
Okay.
You learn that. But yeah, so yeah, I'd check in, new drill instructor. But one thing I was good at slaying the fuck out of kids. Like IT, incentive training. So for all that don't know, like incentive training is set up to where if you have a minor disciplinary infraction, if you get to spend a little time.
It is met with a heavy-handed approach.
Yeah. Through push-ups, planks, mountain climbers in fast succession, in the pit full of sand and sand fleas. And it's terrible. It's a terrible experience for the recruit and for the drill instructor.
Really?
Because you're just blasting them the whole time. So yeah, it took me a minute. I finished my first cycle. They needed guys in the company to be McQuisses. My McQuist, unfortunately, had lapse because I was on deployments.
Sure,
I had let it lapse. Idiot.
Yeah.
So I had to go back.
What's a McQuist?
Marine Combat Instructor of Water Survival.
Okay.
And it's a shitty course.
It is a slate test.
So I had to go back through McQuist again on Parris Island. 3-week workup to go to a 3-week course.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I was gone for 6 weeks. I come back for my second cycle. And I come in, and the platoon is like almost at their halfway point. And there had been 2 drill instructors, a senior and another drill instructor, on that platoon the whole cycle. So the drill instructors were smoked.
Gassed.
Yeah. So here I come in. They signed me off quickly to be alone with the recruits, and I started standing duty. And I don't know, man, like one day I came in and it just clicked. I had the lingo, I had the mannerisms, I had the thing.
Like the
right?
predator kind of like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember one day I walked in, or I was on duty, turned the lights on, and I'm just running the deck like an experienced drill instructor. I don't know why, it just clicked one day. It's immersion training. Just like when you do a language, you do some immersion training, it's the same thing. So I'm slaying the fuck out of these kids on the quarterdeck, and I got kids in the head cleaning, I got, squad bay cleanliness going. We're getting ready for the rifle range. We're packing up the house, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't know the dynamics of the platoon. I didn't know who in the platoon was like the turd of the platoon. But I quickly just you figure out as a drill instructor who the kid is in the platoon that makes everybody else's life miserable. So I'm slaying them. I'd send them away. That kid who's in that group. I bring another group of 10. Because you're only allowed to slay 10 kids at a time.
Wow.
But the minimum also is 10.
Everyone's getting some love.
I'm slaying them. And, as a green belt drill instructor, you don't let them know your personality. You are just the bane of their existence. Mm-hmm. And because I'd only been with this platoon for a couple of days, like they were going to get the brunt. So this kid comes out of the head, and I could see he's got some blood going down his face, and he's got like blood in his hands. And apparently that was the kid that was the trouble of the platoon.
Oh yeah.
So he goes in the head. He gets into a fight with another recruit. Recruit knocks his fucking teeth out. He's got his little chiclets in his hand. He comes out, he's like, sir. And if I was a staff sergeant, regular staff sergeant in the fleet, I'd be like, oh my God, what happened to you? But I had to maintain like my demeanor.
And mean being the key portion of that phrase, right?
Yeah. And the recruits are getting slayed. I'm like, 0. And they stand up, done, sir, done. I'm like, good, get back online. And I look at him, I'm like, what are you doing? What do you want from me? You disgusting thing. He's like, ah. And in my mind, I'm thinking like, oh, what happened to this kid? And I'm like being extra loud to get the attention of the other drill instructor that's in the duty hut. Like, why are your teeth out of your mouth?
You're like enunciating this.
Yeah, I'm like,
please help me, right?
Why is your teeth away from your mouth? What are you doing? And then the drill center finally comes out, and all he sees is me yelling at this kid, and he's got blood everywhere.
Oh God.
And he's like, drill instructor, what are you doing? He's like, get in the house. So I go in there with him. He's like, bro, what the fuck happened? And I'm like, look, I didn't do that. I swear to God, I didn't put my hands on him. Somebody must have punched him in the fucking head. And that's what happened. He went in there. I guess somebody was tired of his stuff.
Corrective action occurred.
Yeah. Internal corrective action occurred. And they knocked his teeth out.
Oh my goodness.
And that kid MPs came, arrested him, made a whole show of it. And then they dropped him back to like training day 1. He had to start over.
The assaulter?
Yeah. And that kid's name was McGrath, or DeGraff was his name with the teeth. So, dude, they sent him to fucking dental. They like put the teeth back in his fucking mouth. Throughout the rest of his cycle, they're like falling out all the time.
No.
Like, dude.
Drill instructor, cruising through. Can you give me a very quick high-low laugh of, so give me a high story of you as a drill instructor, a low story of you as a drill instructor, and then a funny moment outside of the McGrath. Or degraft.
Yeah, so I end up finished that cycle, did one more cycle as a green belt, went to the pool to be I ended up being the staff NCOIC in charge of the pool. So like 10,000 recruits a year are going through the pool, learning water survival.
And you're managing all their safety.
High risk, yeah.
Die.
Yeah,
Good
so it's,
Lord.
you know, and you know, I tried to set a good culture there to, you know, because it's a numbers game. Like we're trying to get as many kids to pass swing qual as possible. And then because I picked up gunny gunny research while I was at the pool, I couldn't go back to the hotel, so I ended up going to golf.
Okay.
And they call it gunny golf because that's where they stacked all the gunnies.
Okay.
You know, so that they put all the gunnies in there, and they'd have like a gunny team from time to time.
Yeah.
So I check in, and mind you, I'd left as like a green belt kill hat, and I'm coming back as a senior drill instructor.
Yeah.
So, but I was at the pool for the last year, so I had a little time to transition my mindset, you know. But dude, so my first sergeant pulls me in, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I was going to give you this super experienced guy, but I'm going to give you this guy that's on his second cycle as your experienced drill instructor."
Super.
This guy named Aaron Calderon, phenomenal, ended up being just phenomenal, like great dude, because he was like a 15-year infantry platoon sergeant. So, and then I got 2 new hats out of DI school. And so for the first couple of days, dude, you revert back to
So you're the senior drill instructor.
So I'm the senior, and I'm blasting.
Which is confusing for recruits.
And they're probably like, nobody's safe here.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt.
No nice guy.
There's no nice guy.
cop or whatever. Yeah.
And eventually Aaron pulled me aside, and he was like, "Hey, bro, like you need to be the dad of the platoon. You need to be the nice guy. Otherwise, these kids are going to start fucking having suicidal ideation."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, man, you're right. You're right. I'll tone it down." You know, so I started like, you know, I was like, well, let's pick a date, like a transition period in the early on. So like outside of forming was when they picked up training day 1. I'm like, all right, you guys saw how I was first couple of days. Not me like that the rest of the cycle. Unless, of course, you piss me off.
Dude, I love that. I love that.
And they're like, yo, you know, and then I started letting them get cookies at the fucking chow, you know, and like building it back up the rapport with the platoon. And, you know, so me and Calderon, we did not like drill. We were just not fans of it. I hated it. I loathed it. I didn't want anything to do with it. Obviously, a very key part of recruit training. And I had no experience teaching drill. I certainly didn't. Because all I've learned was fucking smoking recruits.
Both grunts and working over. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's not our forte.
So what did it force us to do? It forced us to dig into the drill manual and start teaching. We'd be out on the parade deck teaching out of the drill manual. All the other drill sergeants were laughing at you.
I was going to say.
And, you know, so for our initial drill, I think we finished like 2nd or 3rd in the company.
Really?
Because we were teaching it from the black and the white.
Yeah.
And then for final drill, we actually won final drill.
No shit.
Yeah.
So this is clearly a big deal.
Yeah. It's a huge thing, especially as a drill instructor. It's like not necessarily a rite of passage. There are multiple, I mean, how many other platoons are you competing against?
7 or 6.
Yeah.
I think we had a 7 platoon company, and we finished first.
And final drill is the last section. It's taking 80 Marines or 80 recruits from like piles of shit, right? To be able to do
execute precision.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we won. But you know what really chapped everyone's ass? Is that they all knew that we hated drill.
Like, I'm doing.
And there's guys that just love it.
Yeah. The drill master.
Yeah, the drill master. But it was a good example of like, hey, that's the mission.
Yeah.
So we have to execute.
Dude,
it's not an option.
That's great.
Even though we fucking hate it. And we talk shit about it all the time.
That's
Me,
fantastic.
Calderon, and I. Funny enough, Calderon ended up being like the regimental drill master.
Oh my gosh.
And then he ended up at 8th and I to be the drill master there. Meanwhile, this dude fucking hates it.
Oh man, and he can't get away from
But he
it.
couldn't get away with it.
Dude.
But he was that good. He was that.
I like that. The professionalism to be able to say, hey, listen, I get it. I'm going to jump into this thing and just put my whole heart into it.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
And then, I guess like we can wrap with this. Like, I really love being a senior drill instructor. I only did 1 platoon as a senior, and then I transitioned to become like a chief drill instructor, which I liked too. But being a senior and being a chief was more my personality, my real personality. So I kind of had reverted back to being, you know, Gunny Parks, so to speak.
A mentor.
More of a mentor, more of like, kind of like my regular personality. So I think that helped me like transition back to the fleet, because when I checked in to the fleet, I was just a normal dude. Because everyone always expects the guy from the depot
Coming back from that duty.
Yeah,
being like the gunny and
we have to have like a
sergeant
cool off period of like, hey, this isn't the depot anymore, man. Like you can't scream at everybody like that. Like we're Marines, man. There's a lot of that. That's awesome, man.
So that took me to about 2014. So about like my 14 year mark.
Okay. So I want to thank you for coming out and sitting with us and letting Ryan and I into your home.
Yes.
We're going to have to do a second interview. And in that, I'm sure that we're going to cover some more deployments, some more operational time within the recon communities. And then I'm really interested to hear about, I know that as you were transitioning, you moved in, got your business degree at University of Southern California. And then also there's the fall of Kabul, where we're going to come full circle and we're going to talk about men that you served with, and then how you had to fight through government bureaucracy, through back channels to be able to do the right thing and get people out because you made a bond with them. I can't wait to talk about that with you on our next one, and I look forward to that.
Thanks so much, Randall. This is cool. And I would advise, since I won't be here for the next one, to talk about some of these things for people as much as you're allowed to, peek behind the curtain. From an Army guy, I've never seen anything like this. Very cool.
Really?
Just not this many paddles I've never seen a shadow box like that. The knife is very cool. There's just a lot here that people would find fascinating. So for people who are listening and not watching this, the wall behind us is just like Marine memorabilia from a
20s career.
Yeah. So I would encourage you guys to spend a little time on that. Carve it out next time.
I appreciate you guys, coming here and allowing me on, essentially one of your last podcasts, right?
This is a great left seat, right seat.
And my cousin was on your podcast, which is cool. And AJ and I will get into them the next time that we become good friends. But I would like to say for everyone watching this, like those of you that come up to me at the airport or at name the military event and tell me that like my story has helped you in some way, or the way I told it like made you laugh, or whatever the case may be, like that really does mean a lot to me, and that's why I do these things. I feel like there's a lot of bro vet stuff out there, and I just want to like be a regular dude, and I want to like inspire others to do things that they maybe didn't think that they could do. Like I came from Parris, California, kind of ghetto, broken family, and I finished my career and are now currently, good husband, good father, went to school, graduated from SC with a master's in business. Like my 18-year-old self wouldn't believe that I could do that. But because I, came up with guys like AJ and like guys like you, like that molded me into being something better. So that's ultimately why I do all these things, why I do all these engagements, is to, kind of give back in that way, to tell you like, hey, no one cares where you came from. No one cares what you did, how either high speed or not as high speed. Nobody fucking cares. It's what are you doing now?
Yeah.
And if he was your drill instructor, please leave some comments about stories that maybe we could bring up next time.
I look forward
that
to
would
that.
be some fun.
Yeah.
Well, Randall, thank you so much.
So much.
And I look forward to bringing you back.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, brother.